Sports marketing guru Brandon Steiner joins us this morning to chat about the latest in collectibles and the games that shape them. Morning, Brandon. How are you?
Good morning. How's it going? Beautiful day in New York City.
Absolutely. Definitely excited for the month of March. And since it's March Madness, I figured a good place for us to start is Syracuse basketball. You have pieces of the Syracuse Carrier Dome for sale on CollectibleXchange. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you about Cuse's men's basketball season as an alum. Coach Boeheim's recent comments to a reporter about his height and the play of local product Alan Griffin.
I mean, I love Coach because he always figures it out, which is why he's a Hall of Fame coach. I think the season's really weird. And I think next season it's going to be weirder because a lot of guys are going to be moving. We're going to see more free agency in college basketball and also a clog, as far as recruiting, because players staying will cause less kids to get recruited. And also a little bit of some confusion because you have a freshman who maybe was thinking he was going to come in and play, but now you got a fifth-year senior. I think this season is very weird. I'm hoping the tournament is fun and good for the kids because the season really hasn't been. I'm just be honest. Like, the kids haven't been able to practice. They're not really living a school life, what they kind of signed up for. I'm hoping that the tournament is something special because the regular season just hasn't. If you want to talk Syracuse basketball, I mean, to me, the upside, because I have no idea, it just seems like Michigan and Gonzaga have the two teams to beat. But the women's team is a team that I just feel could be so much better. And I'd be just disappointed if they can't really advance in the tournament. They've got 5 really, really good players and 8 players that can almost start anywhere. And they just have not reached their full potential, but they have played well at times. And they have like a UConn kind of team. So I'm curious to see if they get it together and get on a run. I wouldn't count them out.
I always love talking collectibles with you. I wanted to get some thoughts about the Knicks with you this morning. I have this signed rookie card of Obi Toppin, hoping it's going to be worth millions of dollars someday. Are you surprised?
The key operative word, hoping.
Hoping. Are you surprised by the Knicks play and what kind of market is there for collectibles right now when it comes to the Knicks, including, of course, this local standout, Obi Toppin?
I'm not surprised. I mean, this coach is one of those coaches that will get you to mediocrity at least, which is better than being in the basement. He has a hard time holding on to this kind of, these kind of teams. Like, how long can they play this kind of intense defense and only win, basically 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 games? It's tough for these guys. They don't want to play 500 and have to play this hard. And this is where Thibodeau has struggled. I wouldn't bet too much on that card. I mean, he doesn't play much. He hasn't had one of those incredible rookie seasons, but you never know when the light is going to go off. It's not going off for him this season. It's weird how the Knicks have run because they've had a lot of good players, and then now those players are finding their way to the bench. This is the difficulty in basketball when those I call them the tweeners, where you get these few players that kind of could be starting, and then all of a sudden they find their way to the bench, and it kind of starts messing with guys' careers, and that's when they end up moving around. And so it's another weird. The NBA is a little weird. I think the collectible market's through the roof. We're seeing a change over at CollectibleXchange where every day people are coming to try to sell their stuff. A lot of older people downsizing, putting their kind of affairs in order and realizing they're sitting with thousands of dollars of memorabilia and they want to sell it. We're seeing young people really interested. We're seeing people redo their man caves because they're home a lot. See women redoing their offices because they're home a lot. So there's a huge buying and a huge demand. The trading card thing is a weird bubble that I try to stay a little bit away from because it's out of control. And I feel like at some point it will burst as it did like in the 90s. And I hope that people don't get screwed up too much by spending all this money on cards that, like you just did on the Obi Toppin card. Like, by the time you get it graded and find the card, there's a lot of people spending thousands of dollars on these prayers that a card may be worth a lot. And the chance of getting that really valuable card are slim and in some cases none.
Right here in the Bronx, we got this 18-year-old Yankee phenom, Jason Dominguez, and he's pretty much set the market on absolute fire. I don't know if you noticed, but some of the stuff on eBay had a 2020 Bowman Chrome signed variant card last month that sold for $24,900. $999. Do you think, Brandon, that, even though I know he's been compared to Mickey Mantle and Mike Trout, but is that kind of money ridiculous for a guy that's never had a major league at bat?
Yes, and dangerous, and I'm not sure where that comes from, and I wonder who's buying that for 24,000, because are there people hyping up the market? Just like on Wall Street, where you see people moving stocks and creating a false market. I don't know who's spending $25,000 on a card like that and why. And I would question it. And I'm very nervous about the validity of a lot of these purchases. And there aren't as many as you think, and they definitely tend to get broadcasted and giving people the sense that they can end up with the next, $1 million card, which is just not true. So I would be really careful. I'd be very careful, because some of these markets are way overhyped and without a lot of substance to substantiate the hype.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, always I've dealt with you and come to you, whether it's buying. I have this beautiful Yankee Stadium seat here in the living room, or coming by the shops before COVID to have these signings with all these great athletes. But I often think I put some more collectibles here to the side to kind of show off. But I thought it'd be a better investment to invest in a player like DJ LeMahieu, where some of these cards, like this one, has the autograph. It also has some of the Yankee uniform on it, and you can get a card like this somewhere between maybe 50 and $100. And this is a guy that's won a batting title, and he's been an all-star. I think that's a lot better of an investment than maybe Jason Dominguez, even though I think he's going to be great, or I hope he's going to be great. But 25 grand, I mean, that's a new car for some people.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that you should collect what you like, have some fun with it. But when you get into the thousands of dollars, you're bypassing the hobby and just getting into the business part of it. And I just want you to absorb, there's serious risk there. I mean, quite a bit of it. And, a lot is going to happen between now and the 3 years by the time this kid puts on a uniform and actually gets into Yankee Stadium. So, it's nerve-wracking to me that people are spending this kind of money, and I don't want to see it be a black eye for the collectible business in a few years when this stuff's not panning out and people are still not spending the kind of money that they're spending now.
Yeah, I know for me, I was thinking of different things to put out, and one of my favorite collectibles to show off to you. And it was a question I was going to ask you, because this was a book that Mickey Mantle signed for me when I was about 10 years old. I don't know how much the value of it would actually be, but of course it's a prized possession, because to get to meet someone who you idolize, your parents grew up in the Bronx and they love to talk about Yankee baseball, and Mickey Mantle's like the guy.
There's no doubt. And I got to do signings with Mickey and got to know Mickey pretty well. And he was the best. And he's a big part of the collectible business, with one of the best autographs I've ever seen, and actually cared about his autograph and loved making people happy with that autograph. If it's personalized, that does take a little bit away from it. And autograph books don't do quite as well. You may have missed the market with Mickey a little bit, because he's starting to actually come down in more prices, as opposed to 4 or 5 years ago when Mantle was at the height. And any Mantle autograph was getting really, really good money. But that's still worth a few $100. Is it personalized to you?
Nope. It's just
I mean, that's a good few $100 autograph right there. Yeah. A lot of people will cut that autograph out of the book and frame it up with a photo, or they'll put it in a chit and get it graded. So, somebody will probably buy that for a few $100, especially if it's a nice, clean autograph, which I think it did seem to be. And then there's some people that collect books and may want that book and may give you a little bit more. That's the kind of item I put in my auctions, to be honest with you. We have a good Mickey Mantle, good Yankee following on CollectibleXchange auctions, and you put a book like that in there, and that's how I would sell it.
Well, Brandon, it's always great to see you. You still owe me an Evel Knievel autograph, though. I'm hoping you can find one.
I think I may have one for you, actually. If you email me, I actually saw one. I could not remember who the hell wanted that Evel. If you email me next week, I'll give you a price on when I found one. And I'll probably be able to get it for you.
Very exciting. More stuff to add to my collection. So CollectibleXchange.com, Brandon Steiner's new sports marketplace for fans, players, and collectors. We mentioned it. Great stuff. Yankee manager Aaron Boone, Syracuse Carrier Dome, UFC, plus arrival pieces that are signed by the likes of Yankee greats Derek Jeter, Yogi Berra, you name it, he's got it. All the stuff that can be collected there. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Stay safe and talk to you soon.